This hour is brought to you by Jeremy Temple Law Office of Bloomington. Personal injury, criminal, business, whatever you need, Jeremy Temple Law Office will get you taken care of.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jet airliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Well, come on and welcome aboard the Indiana Sports Beat with Coy O'Leary here on this Thursday, April 16th. Man, I have to look and see what day and date it is now, Todd. It's crazy. I'm just starting to lose the days as they all run together. Welcome aboard, guys. Great show on plan today, as always. How about some ooey barbecue? George Leach, former IU player, who was he was up last year, but brought that big truck with him and Jeff Newton. But George is going to join us on the program today. Matt Taylor from the play-by-play guy for the Colts just had a baby. He's going to join us at 9:40. But Franklin College has a fundraiser. We'll talk about that as well. Dustin Schutte will be on with us from Saturday Tradition. Talk some IU football as well. Todd Leary, how you doing, man? How you getting along? It's another day, another Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day number 30-something now. So, yeah, just the same old. Everything's good.
And people are out ready to go. There's people protesting to get back to work and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, I hear you.
People, you can tell the people are starting to get, irritated with being home all the time. Yeah, they are. And people are frustration starting to come out. You can just see in social media posts how, at first it was kind of a getting used to process. Now people are getting restless already. And, you just gotta caution everyone to be patient. I mean, no one's dealt with this before in our lifetimes of this. So it's just something new. We've got to all try to be patient with.
Yep. I'm trying to do that as much as we can. Before I forget, big happy birthday today for Drew Cassis, Drew Baller down in Floyd Knobs. 12 years old today. Huge IU fan. Congratulations, man. I hope you have a great, great, fun day. And I told him in the video, save me some birthday cake. I want a piece of birthday cake.
Do they even use birthday cakes anymore? I mean, kids nowadays, it's the cookies and
I want a cake.
Ice cream cakes. And
my favorite cake when I was growing up, I got to pick my birthday cake. It was cherry cake with cherry icing.
Really? Cherry cake?
No, cherry. Yeah, man, little cherry sprinkles in it. Yes. It's, I don't know, it was a weird thing. I think it first came out or something. I know. Also in the news, Drew Carton. Remember him? Big get for Ohio State out of Ohio. DJ Carton.
You got Drew on the brain right now.
I know it. But he's transferring to Marquette, I saw yesterday, which surprised me a little bit. I was thinking he was going to end up at Iowa, which maybe there's no room. I don't know anything about their situation there, but I would have thought that would have been an unbelievable situation with what Iowa's got coming. But again, I don't know their roster situation, but he ends up at Marquette, which they've had a lot of turnover. But again, who hasn't had a lot of turnover of late? But Marquette, maybe it's just a quieter place for him, a lot less, not the Big Ten. Who knows? Yeah,
I mean, his situation last year, and everyone is still supportive of that, and they were at the time, but he left for mental health reasons. And, hey, everybody wants him to get better from that standpoint. We know he left Columbus, Ohio, and went back to Iowa where he was from. Iowa Hawkeyes, I mean, they don't really have – I thought he might end up at Iowa State. Iowa,
good call.
Roster-wise, doesn't they just have too many guards. They got a couple guards coming in this year. They already had a freshman guard last year who started, so you don't see that changing. And the McCaffrey kid is going to play. I didn't see that fit for him there, but Iowa State was where I thought he would end up just to be closer to home. But yeah, the whole Marquette situation is strange. I mean, they have lost not just this year, but a couple years in a row. They've lost a lot of guys to transfer, and those two brothers that transferred out of there, that was a big loss for them because both of those guys, one of them went to Michigan State and the other one, I want to say, dang it, I can't remember. Maybe, where'd he go? Virginia. Yeah, Virginia. So it's just, they've had a lot of turnover, and you never know without being on the inside of it. You just never know the reasoning for a lot of those things. And But obviously they've got something going on because too many guys are it's like Wichita State situation. You got 7 guys transferring out of a program. There's a functionality problem going on.
Ryan hit us up on the text line. Says the IU student was not on Jeopardy last night. It must be tonight. Well, great. Well, good because I missed it, so I get to see it. Also, he's excited about Anderson for IU. Looking forward to his future on the team. Really like him and think he can play at the point, like Todd was saying a while back. You talking about Demezy Anderson? I'm confused on that one.
Well, first of all, I've never said anything about him playing the point.
I think he's thinking maybe he may be thinking about Lander. He's got to be thinking about Lander. But Anderson is actually something to bring up because we talk about all these transfers. Well, let's be honest. I think a lot of people thought Demezy was going to be a guy that may have transferred out of IU. Not going to happen. I just like we talked about that. I think that he has a home at Indiana and he loves it here. And no matter what, whether playing time be damned, he's going to stay in Indiana. So I don't see him leaving at any point. Right now.
Yeah, and okay, so let's look at this from let's look at it from the standpoint of the story can go one of two ways. Either, I think his career, if his career doesn't go in a different path, I think overall he's going to look at it as a disappointment, and I think everyone kind of will because there were very high expectations of him. But it can also go the other way and be a great story and have a guy who the first 2 years didn't adjust very well and got it figured out and was a big time contributor. And, he's a bigger body that can play some defense and in the past has shown a little bit of ability to shoot the ball. If he can improve in that area, it's not like we're talking about a 5'11" guy here that you're trying to fit in and play. He's kind of a thick body and can play physical. It's just, he's just not really found his niche. And if he's able to do that, it'll end up being, and I think we're all rooting for that, but it'll end up being a great story if he can turn it around.
And then Tim asked on the text line, and you can do so as well, 812-269-6367. Hit us up on that. What are the details of Trey Kaufman's recruiting update that came out yesterday? Yeah, you can go to thehoosier.com. There's lots of stories there, but an interview with him there done by Alec Lasley, a great story there. So you can go read that there. One quote that I did put out is he talked about, we've seen in the last week or so, Anthony Leo talk about recruiting Trey Kaufman. We've seen Logan Duncan talk about recruiting Trey Kaufman. And then Trey Kaufman said that in talking about Logan Duncan, yeah, he's someone that they play well together, that they play the floor well together because of they're different. And that he thinks that would be a very fast paced team if they were on the floor together. So I know a lot of Hoosiers like to see that, but more importantly, they'd like to see him on a roster or commitment. Yeah.
I mean, look, Trey Kaufman, I think his fit for Indiana, I think he fits better into what the need is going to be for Indiana with his timing. When he comes in, you're going to be losing Justin Smith and Joey Brunk for sure. Depending on the NBA situation, whether Trace Jackson Davis is there or not. But I mean, from a size perspective, he's going to fill a need and a void in the lineup that, Justin Smith's going to play 30 minutes a game this year. And that's going to all go away after this season. So when you look at that, that's kind of the position, they list him as anytime someone lists themselves as a 3-4, then he wants to be a 3. Anytime they list themselves as a 4-5, they want to be a 4. And so he lists himself and classified himself as a 3-4. He wants to be a 3, which is kind of, Justin Smith, goes back and forth between 3 and 4. He started last year as a 3. So that's really the position Trey Kaufman a year from now would be coming in to fill. And like I said, that position is going to be wide open. 30 minutes a game is going to be wide open. And, I think that's why he's kind of a perfect fit for Indiana in the class that he's in.
Now, I know a lot of people, he does not have offers from either North Carolina or Kentucky, but those are two schools that have been mentioned in his recruitment. A lot of people are wondering if he's waiting for that UK commitment, and that's something or offer, and that's something that could come now because Kentucky loses 8 out of 9 players who scored last year. 94% of their scoring gone. That leaves Keon Brooks Jr. as the only holdout there.
Yeah, but I mean, let's just look at the facts of that. I mean, if that is 95% or 98% of the other schools across the country, that's that's catastrophic. But Kentucky's used to that. That's how they, that's what they do. And they've dealt with this before. I mean, heck, I think they lost 99% of their scoring like the year Anthony Davis and those guys came out. I mean, they just that's how they're built, and that's what their model is. And they'll have a bunch of guys coming in, and they'll replace that with a bunch of freshmen, and that's not alarming to them, but it would be to every other school just about.
But to me, that deal Kentucky's run, that's about to come to an end because
I think so too.
You can see the change of college basketball. The one and done is going to be gone, but even though it's not gone, we've already seen the kid that was committed to Louisville opting out, said, nah, not going to college. I'm going to go pro instead.
Yeah.
And it may not be to the NBA, but they'll do something else, which is what they can. We're seeing more and more of that. And then when the one and done rule does change here within another year or so, Kentucky's deal, their model, that's over. I mean, Calipari will be forced to actually coach like a regular college coach instead of try to out-talent people, and he has not had success doing that, to my mind.
Yeah, I truly hate to give the credit. It's not even really credit. It's just acknowledging the fact that the trend, I think that's going to kind of grab hold and be a thing for a little while, is what LaMelo Ball and the Ball family did, and sending him, instead of going to college, they sent him overseas, and he made a couple $100,000 playing overseas. And he's still going to get drafted in the top 5 in the NBA draft. And I'm surprised that hasn't, caught hold a little sooner. I'm surprised more guys haven't done that. I think the Louisville commitment that's decommitting, the Michigan commit maybe doing the same thing. I wouldn't be surprised to start seeing agents send guys because they can pay them all the money they want to pay them. I mean, they can already sign shoe deals. They can already go overseas and play and make a couple $100,000, and they don't have to. I mean, I hate to say it this way because this is the way they look at it, but they don't have to go to school. They don't have to worry about those things. They're immediately, professionals, and they don't have to risk that year of. A Keon Brooks a year ago was a super highly recruited guy. And, he has a tough freshman year at Kentucky. And now, his stock level is way down, way down. So I think why not go get paid? I would if I had that opportunity.
Yeah. And now we've got all these guys in the transfer portal. College athletics is going to look so weird next year. It's going to be like an off season of baseball with all the trades and this and that, because you're not. I can't remember who all has left and gone here and gone there.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, every couple of weeks you got to kind of re-update all the rosters because it's so different now, and timing wise, it's also it's not as big a deal where you had to declare at a certain point. What you were going to do and where you were going to go. And that's really not the case anymore. I mean, I'm telling you right now, if someone was coming into, assuming Lander reclassifies and that class is full, if there was still another big time transfer, grad transfer, or somebody that could make an immediate impact, believe me, they'd find the room. They would find a way, like Michigan, for example, Juwan Howard's son. I mean, he's not even on scholarship, and he's a very highly recruited guy across the country. But because his dad's the coach, they don't need to waste the scholarship. I mean, Pat Knight for the first couple of years at IU didn't have a scholarship, but he didn't do anything any different than the rest of us did. I mean, everybody does the same things. You don't really notice it. It's other than they've got to pay for some different things because his dad was a member of the university. I'm assuming they got a discount. on things, but
discounts.
I mean,
double deck discount. That's great. Hey man, we got a great show coming up. George Leach, former IU player and IUBB barbecue specialist, is going to join us next. Stay tuned. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat from Coy O'Leary coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, powered by Rivals. Go to thehoosier.com. Get yourself set up there. We're back with George Leach right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a wink smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what we get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
You're on the line with Jamal Meeks, former Indiana Hoosier, number 23, 1992. And I'm on the beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
You know it's a must. Gotta have a friend in Jesus.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle Leary from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, powered by Rivals here on this Thursday. Now joined by former Hoosier George Leach. George, how are you, man?
Hey, I'm good.
Todd Leary with us here. Last time we saw you, you were making the big loads and loads of great barbecue when you were up here visiting last year. How's the man? I wish to gosh we had some of that barbecue right now.
You know, I'm actually, kind of, I want to say, lucky right now. We're actually still as busy as we were before. So, it's this whole thing hasn't really put us under at all. We're, I guess, surviving. And that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, that's all you can do. That's great to hear. I was going to ask how it was going because, unfortunately, you're kind of set up for this with your business model because you guys did a lot of truck things and you have a mobile trailer and all that. So you're kind of set up to be able to deal with this situation.
Yeah, we are. I didn't really know, that we were pretty much set up for this exact type of thing to happen. So we kind of had to think outside the box a little bit. Literally had to reach out to all of my clients. We have done things this before where we go to actually bigger areas in Charlotte, and we'll just set up and then have people come up and pick up the orders. But with us, we've been in business for 7 years, and we're the actually top of our truck in the state. So we kind of draw a crowd. So I kind of had to kind of calm that down, which is like, I'm like, wow, why do I have to keep a crowd from coming to my truck? You know, but we want everyone want to be safe, so we had to come up with an actual system to where people can literally just drive up and get it within their time slot. So that's actually worked out better for my day-to-day business. We actually make a ton of money on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but they're not able to do those big events anymore, like the actual NASCAR races. All that's done for at least I think August. So. We're just trying to maximize the stuff we're doing now, and it's actually it's okay. It's not like it's still that looming feeling like what is going on, but we're actually doing okay right now.
Well, that's good to hear. I know, Todd, you had some of that when he was up here, and it was freaking incredible.
Oh,
man.
It's unbelievable. I mean, you guys, and truly, like, it was a machine watching you guys come in there and crank everything out. I mean, we had almost 800 or 1,000 people at the Bluebird that day, and I mean, it was pretty seamless in how you guys organized that. So I was, all the small businesses. We read all the stuff about small
904 tickets in 3 hours and 47 minutes.
That's pretty incredible. You would read all this stuff about small businesses right now, and being a Hoosier, you were one of the first people that we thought of, and hopefully this is something that you can get through. It's great to hear that it's. I know it's affecting you, but it's not putting you under so far. Thank goodness.
Now, you guys do. I know food wise, you can't do online sales, but I know you guys have a lot of stuff that you can sell online. I remember you had like some rubs and things like that. Are you guys doing online sales?
Yeah, not so much. We're actually doing more now. It's just so much I can handle. I'm trying to wear a lot like hats or whatever. We could do more online sales, but it's easier for us to focus on the model that we're like doing now, which is going to different neighborhoods, whatever, and parking there and doing literally an Uber Eats style kind of delivery or pickup, which we have our own drivers. We have everybody where I can watch everything going on. I can make sure the guys have masks on. The guys have gloves on. The guys are wash their hands all the time. We're actually putting bleach on all of our surfaces every 2 hours. So the online stuff I'm not really fond of right now. I want to keep everything within arm's reach or wherever I can see it to make sure that nothing comes back on us as we want everything to be done the right way right now. So. As far as t-shirts and rugs and everything, we've actually had more shipments of that the last 2 weeks than we've ever had. But it's still different because people are like, where they're coming from, are they safe? So you kind of want to keep everything to where I can see it.
George just makes sure he's running the show down in Charlotte. And George is down in Charlotte, by the way, folks. He's down in Charlotte, North Carolina, where he's from. But how's Jeff Newton doing? I know Jeff's in business with George down there. How's Jeff doing?
He's good. Jeff is already a keep to him person stuff anyway, as we all know. So, he's fine. He can't go out and play, cornhole. He's almost a pro. He's almost a professional cornhole player. So that's actually killing him. But I do all the morning stuff, and then he operates it better than I can. Like, he's good at gauging the product, getting out to the the people, and make sure everything's in the right way. I'll do all the stuff in the morning and getting everything done, clean, ready to go, for that. But he's actually okay right now. He's doing all right.
Man, Jeff and George played back in the early 2000s on that great 2002 run. Talk about that year, how special that was, George. Man, I remember going to Lexington and on to Atlanta following that. But what a special time that was for Indiana, for the fans, and to have that run. But man, what a special game. We've had Dane Fife on and making fun of him with his block or his foul toward the end, and AJ Moye on. But it's such a great game. There's so many great moments in that game, and it's just such an incredible thing. And then we've got Todd over on the side, standing up on top of chairs and on top of the sideline. Yelling at people and loving on Don Fisher. It was a crazy scene, man.
Yeah, the one like thing that I can take from all of that is that all of her sisters are still friends. No one has ever gone without speaking to each other. And if it's been a while for speaking to each other, it's just like it was in old times. So I mean, we just developed a friendship with all of us that you can't just take away. And I think that run, specifically that run, just made this everything. I mean, guys can't imagine how school was. I mean, it was literally a blur for 4 or 5 months. Just what we had did, and we lost in the championship game. I get that, but you can't take away the run we did, how special it was. Your teammates and their families, how everybody just became close from traveling. All the games together. It was just it was a great experience. Great experience.
We talk a lot about Todd. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I talked Todd's run, and he was on one of the teams that probably one of the greatest teams to not win a national championship. They had such a great team. And then if you guys had one, you guys, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but may have been one of the more improbable teams to have won. I mean, you got a Tom Coverdale who's limping over there, and just nobody expected Indiana to be there. And just that would have been was one of the more improbable championships for Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, we always wish we would have won that game, but there's no negative thoughts about it. It's always like, damn, man, that one was great. Like, you can't imagine how it was for us to play in it and be in it, because when we're playing, the actual term of tunnel vision is true. Like, you don't see anything other than what's in that game. And I got, some time, playing on the court and everything too, during the tournament. And it was like, you can't imagine the chills you get, just getting out there and playing and actually doing something good. And then, it's a lot that comes to that. I show my 6-year-old, the actual game all the time. He just loves watching.
Todd?
It's funny. I don't know if you knew this or not, but last night they replayed on 1070 in Indianapolis. They replayed that game on the radio. Because I probably had 50 text messages last night from people saying we're listening to the 2002 Duke game in Indy, and I know they've replayed it on some TV, some local social media things, and they've replayed some of the big games, and AJ's block always comes up, and the foul from Dane and all that stuff always comes up. But that team, when you're talking about Indiana specifically, and people that are just diehard, true, lifelong Indiana fans, had that team won, it would have really rivaled the '87 team. Like I've always said, and if I can say this in a positive way, the '87 team was the probably least athletic team that's ever won a national championship in basketball, and this team. I mean it in a good way, but with Coverdale and Dane and Hornsby and those guys, I mean, we're not talking about great athletes. We're talking about great basketball players. And that team rivaled that '87 team from a standpoint of lack of athletic ability. Obviously, you don't factor into that, but those guys definitely did.
And trust me, Cub was more athletic than he showed. It was his ankles. But Cub could dunk, his win was everything. People don't know that. Cub was super athletic. Dang, not so much.
Yeah, well, we look at Coverdale nowadays. We know he can't dunk now. He's had too much ooey gooey barbecue.
Oh no, he ain't dunking no more.
So what else is going on with George down there? I know you guys are staying busy with work, which is good. Good to hear that's going on. But how are you outside of work? What are you guys doing to just hanging out, social distancing?
Yeah, it's kind of hard with the kids. I have a 6-year-old. I live in a very big, neighborhood, and I'm at a cul-de-sac. And normally, I'm always the first dad to get home. So at any time of the day, I'll have 11 boys in my yard playing ball, football, whatever, hanging out. I can keep an eye on. So it's like, now it's kind of different. It's pretty much the whole kid factor. The homeschooling thing, and making sure he's online doing his Zoom classes or whatever the heck that is. He goes to the number 9 school in the country, so they don't play any games. Like those kids are on Zoom webinars. Like he's doing his work until 3 o'clock, and then he gets to play and kind of stuff like that. But you want to just make sure you can't just take everything away from your kids. Like he's around these kids all the time, and they're all around each other all the time. And like me and a few of the parents are around each other all the time. And one of them is a doctor, one of them is a lawyer. So we make sure we take care of our kids, because kids spread germs, as we all know. So we make sure that everybody's clean. We have a way to get tested if we need to for showing something because of who she works for. But at the same time, it's like we've already been around each other so long, so we kind of keep it at that small knit group. So therefore, if any changes come about, we know who, what, when, and where. So it's just trying to keep the kids occupied, homeschool, and try not to lose your mind at the same time, because you can't really go anywhere. We don't really do much anyway this time of year because I'm so busy, but with the actual schedule change to where I'm actually home at a decent time now. So, it's better as far as me being home more with the family, but the business is completely different. So other than that, we're just trying to make sure that our kids' sanity is there. As soon as this van lifts, I'm literally sending my wife to the first spot that she can find. Because her having a baby, I have a 40-pound, 20-month-old. If you can imagine running around with this chunky joker every day, it's crazy. So she definitely needs a break from that, and everything. So we're like doing our best. We're not hurting. We're not like, it's fine. It's just you can't go anywhere. So.
Yeah, and you got to come back last fall, but you were working the whole time. Any plans to come back again to a game? Maybe just hang out, not have to work, but just to hang out for a weekend or whatever for a game.
Yeah, for sure. We actually got to a few last year and it was good. And I was talking with Garl. He was like, "You need to come up there more." So, and it's true. I need to. I'm at a place now where the business can kind of run itself, and me and like Jeff can swing up for a few days or whatever. And me and like the family can come up. So yeah, we do actually plan on coming to at least 3 to 4 games a year. Hopefully.
We'll have to get you back out to Yogi's and hang out after a game. Look forward to that. It was a blast having you guys up, man. It was so much fun.
The place is nice, man. The place is really nice. I feel like they did a really, really good job of bringing it back the right way. So,
yeah, I agree with you. We're looking forward to it. Man, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to join us here today, George. It's awesome to hear you guys are doing well, too.
I appreciate it. Thank you. That means a lot.
You bet. Well, tell Jeff we said hello and hope he's staying busy, not doing anything. I know that's probably what he likes to do the most, like me. So we're alike in that way. But, man, thanks. Tell the family hello, and you guys stay safe down there. Thanks so much, George, and appreciate you.
I appreciate the same as you guys.
See you, buddy.
Former Hoosier George Leach joining us here on the program. We barbecue. Make sure you go online. He's got some stuff you can sell there if you're not down in the Charlotte. But if you're in the Charlotte area, you can serve yourself up with some excellent barbecue because it is good. And it's not just the barbecue that's good. Everything they had was like incredible. Their potato salad, the best potato salad I'd ever had. It was just nuts how good it was.
And especially right now. Heck, people are cooking, and I'm definitely putting myself in this category. People are cooking that don't usually cook. And think about how
you're cooking.
We have cooked
Stop
a bunch.
The press.
I know it.
What do you personally cook?
Oh,
what can you personally make successfully with no help?
Stuff that involves ramen noodles and the microwave.
There you go. Oh man, it's a fun time. It's a fun time. Hey, we got more coming up. Our good friend Matt Taylor from the Indianapolis Colts, play-by-play man for the Colts, is going to join us next, and looking forward to talking to him. Franklin College has got a fundraiser going, and he just had a baby, so looking forward to talking to Matt. We've got that coming up. Dustin Schutte is going to join us later from Saturday Tradition. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat with Coy O'Leary coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, powered by Rivals. Back with more right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville Located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway, Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
Hey, this is Jordan Halls, former Indiana Hoosier. Keep up with Indiana sports on Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle Leary, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, powered by Rivals. Make sure you go to thehoosier.com, get yourself set up there. Tons of comment for the Indiana Hoosiers. Joined now by our good friend Matt Taylor from the Indianapolis Colts. Matthew, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, guys. What's going on?
Well, first of all, congratulations. Matt just had a baby. He looks great for just having a baby, by the way, but congratulations, man.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, life is good, man. We got two now, and we got a 3-year-old, so a toddler and a newborn, and they're keeping us on our toes, especially during stay-at-home orders. So every day is a little bit of an adventure, but we're getting through it. It's all good.
I don't know if your wife's going to enjoy this stay-at-home order right now. Then it sounds like with 3 kids and you there.
It's good, but it's also challenging, right? Because it's great that we get to stay home with the kids and be around them, but we just need the weather to turn. I mean, we need to be outside and burn some energy from our toddler. But every day it's just trying to figure out things to do with her and keep her entertained. And but I feel bad for her, just like I feel bad for all the kids, especially with school. Being at home and they got to learn and everything. All these parents are they've basically turned into stay-at-home parents, plus they're stay-at-home teachers now. My wife is a teacher, so it's good that all these teachers are calling her or texting her saying, hey, we never knew how hard this was. So she's getting a little bit of recognition that way. But we just got to get through it, and I think we will. And time will tell. But it is a really good time right now to be at home and get all this quality time.
Of course, this is one thing that absolutely could not be planned, but having a baby during this time, how scary did that become? Or did it become a moment where, like, God, you're getting started a little worried about this?
Well, not really. Although at the hospital, it was real. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. It was real. I mean, obviously everybody there, our nurses were just unbelievably great, fantastic. The care we received was just top notch. Nothing changed as far as that, but they were all wearing masks, and protocol was in place, and we had to wear masks or at least cover up when anybody was in there with us, giving us care and tending to us, during the delivery and all throughout that entire process. But they wanted anybody there. My wife was kind of on schedule to go in and give birth. Nothing had to be rushed there. But in talking to some of the nurses there, they thought that like this week and then like the first week of May, they wanted anybody that was close to being due, women that is. They wanted anyone that was, within like 2 weeks of their due date. They wanted to rush them in and do some and get them out of there as quickly as they could, because they want as few people in there as possible during the rush of this thing, which they think is going to be in the next couple of weeks. So it's really kind of frightening that way. And luckily I was able to be there with my wife, but I don't know if that's going to hold true the longer this goes. And of course, like I said, I had to wear a mask. And once I was at the hospital, I couldn't leave until we were discharged. So, I mean, once I was there, which was fine. But it was just, again, it's kind of a scary new norm compared to the first time that we had our first child. I was able to come and go, and we had visitors in, the day or two that we were in the hospital. So it was just different. But like I said, I can't thank everybody at the hospital enough, because they were great to us, but they also were sensitive to us. They wanted to get us out of there out of respect as quickly as we could, or as they could. So I think all told, we were there about 35 hours, and then we got the heck out of there.
Man, scary times. I'm glad everything is awesome and that things are going well, and hopefully things continue to go well for all of us in that regard as we deal with the lack of sports and craziness. And then, of course, you're doing the play-by-play for the Colts, the NFL, always in the news, and the drafts for all these teams, whether it's the NBA or the NFL, talk about they move this draft or should they move this draft and all of that, and how difficult it is for these teams, because people understand that these are multi-billion-dollar teams and industries, and the combine and all that stuff, how important it is to these decision making.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad that we're able to. The NFL is really lucky right now, because it's the only major sports league that wasn't affected by this as far as being in season and playing games. The offseason, obviously, big time has been affected, but I think we're getting around that as best we can from a virtual standpoint. I mean, needless to say, Jim, if this whole thing is going on, 15, 20 years ago, we're not drafting at all. But because of where we are right now from a technology standpoint with, broadband internet, high strength internet, and, Zoom and all these different conference call apps and software, we're able to get around this and actually do it, because at the core of its event, the draft is an administrative event. It's become this kind of sideshow and circus, with the NFL making it, kind of a pop-up event, moving it out of New York and then taking it to Tennessee and taking it to, all these different places. This year was going to be in Las Vegas, and they had all this pomp and circumstance around it. And from a marketing standpoint, it's genius, but you don't need all of that to actually do the draft, which is why I'm glad that it's still taking place virtually, where it needs to be on the calendar, because these rookies need to get up to speed with their team. They need to move when they can. Obviously, this year it's going to be different, but at this point in the calendar, they need to get acclimated with their team. They need to get the playbook. They need to go through rookie minicamp. They need to go through OTAs. And again, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do all those things, but I'm glad that the draft is staying where it is so that these guys can at least mentally get up to speed with their team at the normal part of the NFL calendar.
Well, one thing you don't have to worry about drafting as a quarterback now, and we had Cam Cameron on yesterday, and he called Phillip Rivers, he lives in San Diego, but he called Phillip Rivers a cross between Larry Bird and Peyton Manning. He said he thinks that the Colts fans are going to really enjoy him, which that's a lofty expectation to set.
It is, and I think Phillip Rivers is going to be awesome. I really do. I think he's going to fit perfectly with this team where it is right now because they're definitely in a win now mode. The signing of Phillip Rivers proves that or indicates that. But he's already worked with Frank Reich. He's already worked with Nick Sirianni. Those three guys worked together for 3 years respectively with Frank, 5 years respectively with Nick with the San Diego Chargers. And really, Phillip had some of the best seasons of his career playing in that system with the Chargers. So here's what I expect from Phillip Rivers next year. I expect 4,200 yards passing. I expect him to hover between 68 and 70% completion percentage. He's going to push the ball down the field. He's going to get rid of the ball very quickly. It's going to be quick rhythm. He's a fast release. He's not a mobile guy. He's a pocket passer, but that's okay. I mean, it's kind of a dying thing in the NFL, but guess what? It ain't dead yet. And he knows this offense like the back of his hand, like I said, working with Frank Reich. So really the biggest thing for Phillip is getting up to speed with his teammates and knowing this offensive line, which is something that's compromised right now. But just from a playbook standpoint, he's going to come in right now and be able to execute this offense. And he had a bad year last year as far as Phillip Rivers' numbers are concerned. But that's because they were down in a lot of games and the offensive line wasn't very good. He was pressured a lot. That's not going to be the case next year with this group on offense. And again, even in a bad year for Phillip Rivers, he still threw for over 4,300 yards. He was top 10 in passing, top 10 in yards per attempt. And these are all numbers the Colts were very, very poor at last year. I mean, he still had 8 games over 300 yards passing, and he averaged 288 per game. Imagine, Jim, how many games would the Colts have won last year if they throw for at least 288 yards to go along with that rushing game? So I think it's a big time improvement over what they had last year. And that's not disparaging on Phillip Rivers. I think he can on Jacoby Brissett. I think he can get better. He's still going to be on this team next year as of right now to back up and continue to grow and continue to learn. But I think it proves the Colts are in a win now mode, bringing in a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback like Phillip Rivers to go along with the young core of this team that's pretty much under financial control.
I found out yesterday, Matt, that Todd Leary could have been the quarterback for the Colts had he not gotten beat out by a guy in high school days that went to Central Michigan, I think. Do
you know how many guys got beat out when they were in like the third grade going on? I mean, all those guys can also say they could have been a quarterback for the Colts.
Todd, that's like saying I could have started point guard at IU had had I grown at least another 5 inches when I was a sophomore in high school, right?
Yeah, today, the build I have today, I would have been a heck of an offensive lineman. I missed my calling. I was just like 30 years late.
I'm right there with you. And I got to say, I'm a huge fan of yours, Todd. I mean, just from a player standpoint, I grew up watching IU basketball. From a player standpoint, and then from a broadcaster, same thing. So this is really cool for me to talk to you guys.
well, you figured out the way to get yourself bumped right up the list to my favorite all-time guest we've ever had.
You got to do what you got to do, right?
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. That's very nice of you to say.
Well, man, your favorites on your list just keeps getting eclipsed every day. It seems.
Oh yeah, I am a front. I'm a front runner. I'll tell you right now. You just give me a compliment.
Yeah, don't be ashamed of it because I'm the same way.
Hey, let me tell you.
I need to get to the top as many lists as possible.
I could not stand. Like I will put it in the category from an athletic standpoint. I hated Phillip Rivers as much as anybody in the league, but I'm a Colts fan. So, hey, I'll jump ship in a heartbeat. I love him all of a sudden now. And everything I used to hate him for, now I can't. I hope he pisses everybody in the league off right now.
Well, and that's the thing. And a lot of Colts fans have this memory of the 2008, playoffs where he tears his ACL and then he gets carted off the field or he's walking off the field. heading to the locker room, and he's getting heckled by fans in the first couple rows there by the tunnel, and he has that exchange, and that's just kind of what he is. He's just a fiery guy that hates to lose more than he likes to win. And Frank Reich loves him. And don't be fooled. Frank Reich, I'm sure, was a big part of this move, saying, I know this guy. I know his ins and outs. I know what he's made of. And he's competitive, but he's also one of the smartest players that I've ever been around that has played this game. And I think that's a big reason why this move was made, because the Colts are ready to go. They just need better, more efficient play from that quarterback position. So you better believe, Todd, I think you're in this. I think you're right. I think you're in the majority that, the first time Phillip Rivers throws for 3 touchdowns and, 250 yards and the Colts win a close game, all those bad feelings that people have for Phillip Rivers are going to go right out the door.
100%. Yeah, it's one of those things. You love to hate him on the other team, but the second he's on your team, he's one of those guys you want on your team, because he's going to get in everybody's head. He's going to piss everybody off. But when you're on the other side of it, man, you want to punch him straight in the face.
Yeah, like Reggie Miller, right? He's Reggie Miller.
Perfect. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, what a great analogy. Hey, before I forget, I know that there's a fundraiser going on over at Franklin College. Is that your alma mater?
It is. Yeah, went to Franklin College. It's a small school up in Franklin, Indiana. So from Bloomington, it's about a 45-minute drive up 37. Then you hop on 44 and you head east. And I made that drive many, many times visiting buddies down in Bloomington when I was in college. But, for me, Franklin College was a great place to go to school. It was a small school, Division III, played football there, 4-year player. Just wanted to continue to play and have a chance to play football. So it was a great spot for me. Plus the school was great, small school, like I said. And I was that like dork / football player that if I wasn't playing or lifting or going to meetings or anything like that or going to school, I was in the campus radio station, teaching myself how to do things. And I was calling the basketball games. I was calling the baseball games. So it was a great, opportunity for me to really kind of cut my teeth. For me, it didn't matter that I wasn't calling or at a Division I school. It just mattered that I was getting experience. And that's what Franklin College gave me. So yeah, today they're doing a big fundraiser at Franklin College. It's called Give to Grizz. They're trying to raise as much money as they can to go into the Franklin Fund that goes to and pays for unexpected expenses for anybody at the school, whether it's facilities or tuition for students, anything. It's kind of like the surplus fund they're trying to always replenish. So go to franklincollege.edu. And if you feel like giving to a great institution, they would certainly appreciate it. And I can certainly speak to how much of a good experience I had there 4 years at Franklin College. And Franklin, Indiana is just a beautiful place to be around and to go to school.
Yeah, a buddy of mine played from high school. He played basketball there for Franklin back then. That was 1,000 years ago, but that was my first introduction to Franklin. Beautiful campus, been there. Beautiful, beautiful little campus.
Yeah, it is. It's a great place. Their basketball team's really, really good, or has been good over the years. They just won their conference tournament again this year. So, from an athletic standpoint, it's perfect. Most of the kids there are either in Greek life or they're athletes. It's a small school of about 1,200, 1,300 kids. So everybody knows everybody, which is good. It's also bad, right? You can't really get away with much. But that's not the point. It's to get a great, college experience and a great education. And I feel like I had both.
Make sure you go to franklincollege.edu and help them out. Matt Taylor, the play-by-play man for the Indianapolis Colts. I cannot thank you enough. Congratulations on the new baby. I hope your wife is doing well and managing through this sequestered time.
You got it. I appreciate you guys. Call anytime.
You betcha, Matt. Thank you, brother.
Thanks,
Matt Taylor from Indianapolis Colts joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Appreciate him as always. Always fun talking to Matt. Great guy. Get to spend some time down here in Bloomington, get to hang out with him some. That's awesome. But, a lot of people talking about Phillip Rivers, man. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out. I think it's going to probably end up being good.
You love hearing the inside of that on how he's going to fit in right away. I mean, it's never an easy transition with that, but man, knowing the system and the head coach and the offensive coordinators, and I mean, it makes such a gigantic difference on that. During really, I mean, I think he summed it up perfectly. How good they're going to be is going to be based on, how well the timing picks up between the offensive line and Phillip Rivers and the receivers. And if they're able to click on in a timely manner, man, the Colts have a real opportunity to do something cool next year.
Absolutely. I saw the WWE furloughed some people. Kurt Angle, former 4-time champion. They're even the wrestling is affected by this stuff. So everybody's getting affected. Hey, we've got.
Well, they don't really hit each other anyway. They're mostly 6 feet apart from each other anyway.
I wonder if the
WWE BS.
I wonder if the layoffs are scripted as well. Hey, joining us next is Dustin Schutte from Saturday Tradition. We'll talk some Big Ten football. Stay tuned. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Coy O'Leary coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, powered by Rivals. Go to thehoosier.com. Get set up. Content for IU basketball, football, whatever you need. We're back with more right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
Hey, it's Michael Lewis, former Indiana University player and current UCLA assistant basketball coach, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle Leary coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, powered by our Rivals. Joined now by our good friend, Dustin Schutte from Saturday Tradition. Dustin, how are you, man?
Hey, Jim, I've been good. How about you guys?
Can't complain. I mean, it's not a lot going on, but yet there's still enough going on in recruiting and transfer portals and all that stuff to give us stuff to talk about every day.
Hey, yeah, you can't complain about that. At least we got something going on to chat about. So that's always a good sign.
Yeah, Indiana doing pretty well. They got a lot of offers out, but they got some commitments coming in. Offensive linemen, they got guys. They're going everywhere too. That's the thing. They're all over the South, whether it's South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, or Michigan. They're everywhere now, and I think that's something that has changed for Indiana. Their recruiting footprint has just really, really grown.
Yeah, and I think you start to see that with the diversity now that's on their staff and bringing in coaches who have ties to some of those other areas. And you talk about, some of the additions that they've made, some of the commitments that they've gotten. So far, it's been pretty Indiana heavy. I think 4 of the 5 verbal pledges that they've gotten so far from the state of Indiana. I think that's a product of the time we're going through right now. You can't get kids on campus, and visiting Bloomington in the spring when it's beautiful is a lot different in person, getting that experience, than it is doing a virtual tour. And so Indiana's doing a good job of getting the offers out, spreading out the wealth, trying to dip into SEC country, trying to get into the state of Florida a little bit more proactive in that area as well, trying to dip into Louisiana, and then, of course, recruit the Midwest as well, too. But it'll be interesting to see if they can get some more commitments outside of the footprint of Indiana. Again, I just think that right now you're looking at a lot of players, even Purdue, I think they have 3 in-state commitments right now. A lot of the schools where they can't get kids on campus right now, they can't compete with the Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State at this time for some of those out-of-state recruits because they just don't have a lot to offer, excuse me, in terms of they need to expose their campus. They need to show some of this cutting-edge technology, some of these new facilities that they're building, and they just haven't had that opportunity yet. So I know I've talked about this in the past. It'll be interesting to see what happens when recruiting does open back up. Kids can take official and unofficial visits to these schools. If you start to see a lot of decommitments and flips and start to see maybe some of these other teams get more out-of-state commitments.
Yeah, that'll be. I mean, Ohio State, like you said, they have really raked them in because of this. It seems like, but it'll be interesting to, like you said, to see if that changes when it does happen. But the one thing, Indiana, it seems like the recruiting has gone better and better, but yet they still end up ranked down at the bottom of the Big Ten. It seems like with each class.
Yeah, and some schools have made a living off of that. You look at schools like Iowa, Wisconsin, even Michigan State when they were dominating the Big Ten earlier in the 2010s. They weren't raking in highly ranked recruiting classes. They were, it's consistently in the 20s to the 40s. So Indiana can do something here where if Tom Allen sees a 3-star prospect and he thinks he has the coaching staff to develop those kind of players, you don't necessarily need to get those 4- and 5-star guys on campus to be a successful program. Now, obviously, getting more of those 4- and 5-star guys, especially from the Midwest, especially from the state of Indiana, is going to help you, but you don't necessarily have to have that. I just wrote a story, the other day. Wisconsin has Jonathan Taylor, Zach Bond, and Tyler Biadish, who were all 3-star prospects, and all are going to be top 4 or go in the 4th in rounds 1 through 4 of the NFL draft. So if you can develop some of those guys, and I think Tom Allen has the staff, and I think he can develop some of those guys, you don't have to go out and get those high 4-star or even 5-star guys. You got solid recruiting classes. You get guys who fit your system, who believe in Indiana football, and you'll be just fine. You'd like to see them improve in the recruiting rankings, and I think that's something, again, that'll come over time. Indiana just comes off an 8-win season. They haven't had the ability to show off their new facility yet. They haven't had the ability to get kids on campus and show them what Bloomington is like in the spring, summer, and fall. Once they're able to do that, I expect to see them skyrocket a little bit in the recruiting rankings just because of the success they had a season ago and in getting to that bowl game down there in Jacksonville. But yeah, I don't necessarily think recruiting rankings are everything. Obviously, the higher you are, the better. But you can still win a lot of football games if you're just bringing in guys who believe in your system and you think you can develop that talent.
Yesterday, we had a chance to talk to Nick Sheridan, Indiana's new offensive coordinator, as we go into the season. I'm wondering how difficult it's going to be because of the situation that he's in, being a first-year offensive coordinator, how much that's going to affect him not being able to have that spring ball. They just had a very, very muted version, and we don't know what fall camp's going to be like, but that's being a first-year offensive coordinator in a Power 5 conference. A lot of pressure there, period, but now you add this kind of stuff to it. There's got to be some difficulty added to that.
Yeah, and I think that I think that this is where Tom Allen's decision to stick with an offensive coordinator in-house actually benefits him. Because imagine trying to bring in somebody from the outside who's trying to implement a brand new system. I think Nick Sheridan is going to take a lot of Kalen DeBoer's offense and implement it again next season. And we've talked about before on this show that Indiana's got a lot of returning talent, especially on the offensive side of the ball. When you look at Michael Penix, when you look at Watt Filliar at receiver, you look at Stevie Scott at running back, they've got some good young offensive linemen who are returning. So it may not be quite as difficult for Sheridan as you might expect compared to if Tom Allen had went out and made a pitch to, just throwing a name out there, like a Joe Moorhead or somebody to that extent, who's going to try to bring a brand new offense, and then you're going to have to learn it basically during fall and summer camp. These players know this system. Nick Sheridan's going to try to run the similar system that Kalen DeBoer had. So it's going to be difficult for him. There's no question about that. But I don't think Indiana's in as bad of a spot as other programs, say like Minnesota, who's ushering in a new offensive coordinator, or Rutgers or Michigan State, who have brand new coaching staffs.
Greg Schiano up at Rutgers, man, they're really getting busy on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, they are. He's basically fenced off the entire state of New Jersey right now. And I think, last I checked, they had a top 15 recruiting class. Now, obviously, a lot of that has to do with volume, but at the same time, he's making sure that people understand that New Jersey's a priority. The other thing he's doing is he's kind of taking the Lovie Smith approach, and he's entering the transfer portal and saying, hey, if I can't get those 4- and 5-star guys off the recruiting trail into my recruiting class, I'm going to go to the transfer portal and see what kids are interested in coming and playing in New Jersey. We've seen some guys, Michael Dwumfor from Michigan, Aaron Cruikshank from Wisconsin. Those guys were close to New Jersey coming out of high school. And so they're going back home to play at Rutgers. And those are some big steals. Those are guys who can make immediate impacts for Greg Schiano. So he's done a really nice job. I've been really impressed with what he's done in his short time at Rutgers. He knows the lay of the land. He knows how to make these pitches. He knows how to get into those homes in New Jersey. And it's really paying off for him right now. I know that they don't have the elite star level recruiting ranking that you'd like to see, but just the fact that he's able to get so many kids committed and interested in Rutgers is something that they haven't had in quite some time. And I think that just shows, how promising the future is there at Rutgers and in Greg Schiano's time. And that doesn't mean that they're going to win the Big Ten East, but I think that's a program that can consistently get to bowl eligibility if he continues to do what he's doing on the recruiting front.
And now we just all have to sit back and hope that we have a start to the college football season, whether it's late or not. I don't care as long as we have one. But I think that that's something that these schools are going to do everything they can to make sure that happens, because without football, some of these schools I don't know what would happen to them.
Yeah, and you've already seen the ramifications in some schools. You look at Cincinnati, who just cut its men's soccer program, and I think Old Dominion cut the wrestling program. So, those sports might have been on the chopping block in the first place, but now athletic departments are going to have to take that step where if we don't have football, you're going to see a lot of other sports get cut. You're going to see a lot of people lose jobs, and it's an unfortunate situation. And I think that's why you're seeing so many commissioners, people in the NCAA, athletic directors, head coaches, working together, trying to brainstorm ideas of, okay, how can we get this season going? Whether it's delayed and we get just conference games, whether it starts on time, whether we have to push it to the spring, which I don't know how that would work in the first place anyway. But there's going to be some sort of result here where in my opinion, we're going to have college football. What that looks like, I have no idea. We hope it's going to be the full season, but I can't imagine with all the money that's at stake and the implications it's going to have on other athletic programs for universities, for so many jobs, not even just in the athletic departments, but, people like us who are writing about college football, the people who are staff members in those organizations. It's going to be interesting, but I think that we're going to see college football, whether or not that's going to start, September 5th in the Big Ten or not, that's going to be determined in the coming weeks and months, I think.
I could not agree with you more, Dustin. Now, anything you need to tell the people that they need to find there at Saturday Tradition?
Well, if you are interested in not to bump up against the rivals here, but if you're interested in recruiting, I just came up with a story of some of the lowest rated, 3-star recruits who are going to have turn their 3-star recruiting ranking into a big payday at the NFL draft. A lot of guys who were, ranked in the thousands or below 500 by composite rankings, by rivals, by ESPN, are going to be projected as, first through fourth round draft picks this weekend. So if you love that and you like those stories of guys who really find their home in college and can develop themselves and, turn a 3-star under recruited ranking into a NFL payday, then that's a good story for you.
Absolutely. Make sure you go check that out. Dustin Schutte joining us from Saturday Tradition. As always, brother, we really appreciate you, and thank you, man.
Hey, thanks, Jim. Thanks, Todd. Have a good weekend.
See you, bud.
Hope you're having a great day. Dustin Schutte from Saturday Tradition joining us here on the program, as he does all the time. Always great to get some Big Ten football news. Tim texted in the show earlier. I saw yesterday Derwin Webb mentioned you, and Tim says something about that he has a book that he's mentioned you in. Did he mention you in a book?
We did a Zoom call, Dr. Seuss book reading last night.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So it was a bunch of guys. Derwin was a teammate of mine at Lawrence North in Indianapolis. He was a year older than me. And
I did not realize that. I kept trying to figure out the connection and I couldn't get it. Did not know that.
Yeah. He's a judge now in Louisville. And, he put together a group of people that included, it was everyone. The only stipulation had to be you had to have graduated from college. And he put together a bunch of guys that had played basketball and football and some gals that had played basketball and in the WNBA. And it was just a good group of people. It was fun to be a part of.
We'll have to get Derwin on the show one day. I mean,
I
did not know he went to Lawrence because I knew about him at Louisville. He played basketball at Louisville. But yeah, I did not know he went to Lawrence North. He was on your team?
Yeah. He graduated a year before me. So yeah.
Wow. I had no idea.
My junior year, Derwin's senior year, we had Montross as well. And we lost.
Did you all win at your junior year?
We lost in the first game of the sectional. First game of the sectional. Can you imagine?
Who?
Chittard.
Wow.
I'll never forget it. I
bet not. I mean, I'm going to guess that team was better than when you were a senior.
Yeah, it was. I mean, talent-wise, it certainly was. I mean, Derwin was just an incredible athlete. I mean, he got to think about a guy that got a basketball scholarship to Louisville, but he also won the state in track. I want to say several years. It wasn't just his senior year. He won it a couple years in a couple of different events, and he was just an amazing 6'7" athlete. And obviously, he went to law school and became an attorney, and then now as a judge. And just smart as a whip, and one of those great teammates that you always. I like that. That loss is to this day in sports one of my biggest, regrets and things that we do. We overlooked a team that couldn't be. If we played 100 times, they beat us the one time, they couldn't beat us in the other 99. Not a chance in the world. And taking nothing from them, they got us. They beat us, but. That was a definite setback and letdown for us. That's why the next year, we weren't going to let it happen again.
And did not, as they won a state championship. Unfortunately, with my Floyd Central was in that too. They didn't even get a chance at that. But yeah, wow, that is great to know. I did not know that. Holy cow!
It was, you don't understand the recruiting. You don't learn a lot of the stuff that goes on in recruiting behind the scenes, and. Derwin ended up at Louisville and I ended up at Indiana. And truly, like there was a very, very good chance that Derwin and I both ended up at Purdue. And we talked about, playing together and continuing on. He's a great teammate. He's a Calbert Chaney level teammate. And what I think of Calbert. So there was a really good chance that we were both going to go on and play at Purdue. And we were excited about that and talked about that. And he got a kind of a last minute chance to go to Louisville and he chose that direction and I had a very last second chance to go to get to Indiana. So, it ended up going total different directions, but we very easily could have both ended up at Purdue, which just would have been nuts.
That's mind-boggling.
Isn't it?
What a great story! It just amazes me. As long as I've done this or been around it, that the stories that keep. I'm like, what? Especially from your own era, when you don't know something like that, it's like, wow, man. That because we looked at the teams this year up at Lawrence Central and Lawrence North on how good they went. And of course, Lawrence North when they had Oden and Connolly, but
right.
My gosh, I don't know how a Leary, Montrose, and Derwin Webb team could not be maybe the best team in that school's history, and they've had some great teams.
We had a kid also who was ruled ineligible, and his name was Eddie Casiano. You remember that? You remember that name?
Oh yeah.
He played for Puerto Rico in the Olympics against Jordan and all those Dream Team guys, and had like 30 against Jordan, straight up, one-on-one, heads up. And he was on our team as well, but he had just moved in from Puerto Rico, and so the IHSAA deemed he wasn't eligible to play. So think about having that guy on our team as well. I mean, it was incredible what could have happened.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, I tell people all the time, if you want to, especially now this time we all have so much extra time, go back, look at the Indiana high school Final Fours from like 1970 forward. Look at the teams and see who's on these teams. I mean, you go back to 71, like when Floyd Central, the first time they went the Final Four, but it was East Chicago, Washington, I think, but they had Junior Bridgman and Turgovich, who went to UCLA, and Stoddard, who pitched in the major leagues and played at North Carolina State. It's nuts. But Floyd Central had the guy that went to Kentucky and a guy that went to Wake Forest and Alabama, and then that was just two of the teams. But the talent in the Indiana high school Final Fours year after year is mind-boggling if you will go back and look at those rosters.
Oh, yeah, it's nuts. And you go back and look at, like, I remember going back and watching the Scott Skiles Final Fours and that stuff. And, I mean, you talk about crazy good basketball. It was just some of the stuff.
Plymouth.
Yeah. I mean, think about him taking that team. I mean, that's a
Larry Bird, Indiana State thing.
It's almost a Milan situation. It really is almost that big of a deal. And that team, I mean, he was so good. I mean, it's incredible how good Scott Skiles was. And
he was almost Bobby Plump Jr., man.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was Larry Bird, only the 6-foot version of it. I mean, if he'd have been 6'9", he would have been Larry Bird. He'd have been as good as Larry Bird.
You're right, because he had that same tough street moxie.
Yeah. He hated everybody, hated everything except for basketball.
If I can't beat you, I'll fight you.
Yeah, if I can't beat you, I'll break your legs.
Oh man, gosh, this has been another great show. The shows are getting more and more fun.
I'm looking at the list of people that we had on this thing last night, and we had Felton Spencer. You remember Felton Spencer?
Oh yeah, he played against Floyd Central. I remember seeing him because he went to Eastern High School in Louisville, I think.
Yeah, Denny Crum was on. They had Larry O'Bannon. Woody Austin was supposed to be on, but something came up last minute. He couldn't be there. Vince Taylor from Duke. I mean, there was a lot of really good, really nice people I've never met before on there. Yeah, it was, we did it via Zoom call. And I'll just say this, if you ever watch the blooper reels of Zoom calls or not Zoom calls, but, video conference calls in general, it was kind of a version of that because we had 22 people on there and, let's just say some of them were not that skilled in video conference calls because we couldn't get people to mute their phones or mute their computers, and we had dogs barking. And we for the entire time, Felton Spencer could not figure out how to take the mute off of his computer.
Where can they go to find that?
It's listed under. I put it on Facebook. I put it on my Facebook, but it was listed under Derwin Webb. I'm not sure.
What did y'all read from?
We read Dr. Seuss's book, "Oh, the Places You'll Go," and it's a 23-page book. And some people had one line to read, and some people had 10 paragraphs or 4 paragraphs to read, 10 lines. So it was a neat group, and it was a bunch. I think we're going to do several more of them. And Derwin's one of those people. Jamal Meeks was supposed to be on there as well. Jamal had something come up; he couldn't be there, but. I think we're going to do several of them and do a series of reading some books on there. But I was really happy they included me in on it, and I was the only Indiana representative So it was fun to be on.
That's awesome. Next time we do it, you're gonna have to do your reading here so you can practice.
Yeah, no doubt.
We'll do it right here live on the air. Let's see. How many books, Tim, want to know, how many books have you been mentioned in? Do you even know?
Well, you talking about positively or negatively?
Yes, but we'll just go positively now. We'll
positively, not very many. Negatively, a whole bunch.
Well, you weren't in the season on the brink, at least.
I wasn't. I was not in that. That is anytime that they talk about stuff, you being a part of Indiana University, I'm all for supporting that and being a part of something positive for that. And Derwin organized this whole thing. Derwin, what people don't know about Derwin is, he's an elected official and judge in Louisville, but he goes out, I'll say at least once a week. And I think a lot of times it's more than that, he goes out and reads to elementary school kids on his own. Like truly, he just really enjoys being a part of the community and especially the young people in the community. A lot of his stuff is African American based, but it's really not. It's kids in general. He doesn't care if you're white, black, green, purple. He could care less.
And that's exactly why he is where he is today, because he quickly when you said he was a judge, I was like, huh? Because I knew he had been just an attorney, not just an attorney, but he was an attorney, criminal defense attorney starting out. But that wasn't that long ago. So I'm like, he's a judge already?
Yeah, I think 2 years ago. He became an elected judge 2 years ago. And you couldn't put a person in a role. I mean, he's one of those people that should be a politician because he is always going to have youth first and foremost. He would never make a decision that would be negatively impact a youth purposefully. And he's just a great person. He's a good person to be associated with from my
Can't wait to get him on here.
He's
talk about those days.
now, actually.
well, tell him that we can't wait to get him on, and we're going to talk about that missing state championship that didn't happen, man.
It was his senior year, so trust me, it stabbed him a lot more than it got me.
I'm sure. Well, man, it has been an incredible show again. George Leach from former Indiana Hoosier, now with IUBB down in Charlotte, joined us on the program. Also, Matt Taylor, Indianapolis Colts play-by-play man, friend of ours, and Dustin Schutte from Saturday Tradition. We talked a lot of football. Lots of stuff we got to talk about today, man. It was a fun one, and we're back at it tomorrow. Armand Franklin with us on the program tomorrow. We'll get to see what Armand's up to. So we're trying to keep it going, man. We got a streak going. Trying to see how long we can go without having a repeat guest. And this has been a good run so far. We'll keep it going. Hopefully, eventually, you'll get back on the golf course, Todd Leary.
I will be on the golf course today. I bet you.
Are you kidding me? Wow, you're a brave man. Chilly out there. Well, thanks a lot, everybody. We appreciate you. Make sure you go to thehoosier.com, get signed up. You can find complete coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers. Until tomorrow, for Jake, Todd, I am Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.